On today's 2-minute tip, how to do efficient in-row weeding without damaging your garden plants. So we know that the wheel hoe does a great job of keeping the weeds under control between our rows, but what about our in-row weeding, or weeding between our plants along the row? As opposed to between row weeding, with in-row weeding we have to be a little bit more delicate because we want to be sure we don't damage those plant stems while we're weeding closely around them. So if we go in there between our plants with a traditional hoe that's sharp on several sides, there's a good chance we're going to end up nicking one of those plants and damaging some of our garden plants as we're weeding along that row. So what's the solution? Well, my favorite tool for in-row weeding is this single-tine cultivator here. This is a very simple yet multifunctional tool that can do several things in your garden. You'll see it has this little sharp blade here on the end that you can use to dig and uproot larger weeds, but it also has this curved shank right here, which is round or cylindrical, and this allows you to get really close to your plants without risking damaging the plants. So as long as we keep this curved shank right here facing the stem, there's no risk of nicking or damaging that plant, and we can go along the row there, knock out those small weeds, and even do our preventative weeding by just barely skimming that soil surface. So maybe you've seen our long handle version of the single-tine cultivator in several of our other videos, but we just introduced this shorter version here, which has an 18-inch handle. And this is a perfect tool for people who might have raised beds, or maybe you're not as tall. And this right here is going to allow you to do the same thing as the long handle, just with a shorter handle. So when you're doing that delicate in-row weeding, don't use a hoe with a really sharp blade on several sides. Use something like this single-tine cultivator here that's got this blunt edge where you can go in there, skim that soil surface, remove those small weeds, and prevent any of those new ones from germinating. I'll put a link in the description for the long handle and the short handle version of this. Hope you enjoyed this week's 2-minute tip. We'll see you next week.